So what now? Now that the Capitals have lost to the Penguins again and have been unable to get past the second round again, I mean, what gives? Or where do we point the finger?
That is a great question because despite the lack of postseason success for the Grade 8, it's unlikely that Ovi will ever wear out his welcome down in Washington. But back home in his mother Russia, some are starting to get annoyed with the subpar showings in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and at least one individual places the blame squarely on the Capitals' captain. Slava Malamud is a Russian reporter who went on an 18-tweet barrage on Wednesday night directed at Ovi. Some of the tweets included, the Caps' problems extend beyond a bad defense pair and underperforming goalie. The failure is endemic and systematic. It's the result of choices fanboy owner Ted Leonsis made in 2004. When he decided his business model would be not building a winner, but servicing a marketable megastar. There's nothing wrong with building a team around a star, but it has to be the right kind of star. Ovi just isn't the, quote, win-first type. I've known Ovi since he was 17. Kid was born with a silverware set in his mouth, always told he's the greatest. Teammates must be worthy, but his demands on himself stay the same. He's not the bloodied, inspirational leader. He's the tousled-haired, sexy, charismatic ruffian. No holds barred. And on Thursday, Malamud joining Tim and Sid to elaborate on those comments.
I've carried these thoughts for a long time. This is the kind of stuff that, Russian writers in the newsroom during the World Championships talk over a bottle of beer between each other without ever putting it on paper, because no editor in their right mind will pick it up.
So even though editors might not pick it up, you're saying that this could be a widely thought of idea, that Alexander Ovechkin worries more about himself than the front of the jersey?
Oh yeah. There's more than a few hockey writers in Russia who, mostly between themselves, will say, this guy is more about money, about his brand. He's more about being who he is and letting others elevate themselves to his level other than elevating them. I don't think he's the kind of guy who makes everybody around him better. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's not a bad player. Yeah. He's not a guy who doesn't care about hockey. He loves hockey. He'll play hurt. He'll do what the coaches ask him to do until he hates it, and then the coach will get fired. But he's just not the guy who is I think is capable of making players around him better. And I don't think he feels the urgency to do that, because he's always been told that he's the best ever. And whenever something bad happens, it's somebody else's fault. And unfortunately, the culture in Washington feeds into that, very much so. I mean, because, there's a saying, I'm not sure whether it's a Russian saying or other countries have it too, but victory has many fathers and defeat is always an orphan, right? And in Washington, it's almost the complete opposite. When some good happens to the Caps, the father of that triumph is Ovechkin. And something bad happens, that's a lot of fathers, but Ovi was out on a business trip when that defeat was considered. Right. So I think he he stepped into the situation that is playing to his weaknesses as a person.
Renaud Lavoie of TVA was on the Jeff Blair show on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, in Toronto earlier today, Slava. And he floated, and it's not the first time he's floated it, but he floated, maybe a trade out of Washington wouldn't be the worst thing for all parties involved. And Renaud, for the first time today, floated Vegas. Big picture, though, is that the type of change here that we have reached in the relationship between Washington and Alexander Ovechkin? Slava, do you think we are there?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's a realistic scenario, not because it's a bad scenario necessarily. It could work out well. I'm having a hard time seeing any team willing to stuff him under the salary cap and giving up the house for him. But I think it's because of Leonsis doesn't want to do it, because Leonsis, that destroys his entire business model. You go to any hockey rink in the Washington, D.C. area, in Maryland and Virginia, every single kid is wearing number 8.